parked, and we woke up in the morning, and it was one of the most stunning spots that we had ever been to.
It was one of the most beautiful things I had ever seen. It was like almost shocking. It was beautiful.
Aleja and I decided to sell the house and proverbial white picket fence to live more deliberately. We want to inspire others to do the same, whatever that may look like. This new lifestyle has had plenty of growing pains, but ultimately has been profoundly rewarding. As early fall was upon us, we wanted to travel north from Lake Powell and beat the snowy weather at our first off-grid destination, Glacier National Park.
So we made it up into Montana, and this is where we officially needed to put everything that we had Googled and researched late into the night into practice. We were really getting into the swing of things, and we had kind of 2 camping spots in, previously we had bookmarked those, and we thought, okay, let's go straight there and try to figure things out. And believe me, the saying you live and you learn is so true, because you think you've done all this research and you're good to go, but it's not until you get to a place that you really start to learn.
And we feel like we didn't have a ton of time for research. Like you've seen in past videos, we were moving, we were doing stuff on our bus, we were at Lake Powell, and we were trying to fit in like research and where to go in between all of that. At
midnight.
Yeah. We used 3 apps really to help us triangulate where we want to go or end up, because when you're going off grid, it's not always a guarantee. We use, I think our favorite is Campe Diem. I don't know if it's pronounced Campendium or Campe Diem, but
we say Campe Diem, but we've heard like 30 different
Carpe
iterations.
Diem, Campe Diem. And we use, it's called Boondocker's Bible. You can look it up on Google. That was great. And The Dirt. And our rule is, if it kind of shows up on all 3 of those and it meets our criteria, that's where we go. And
other people might have different criteria too, or sometimes things change, which happened to us. We were told that there were service in both of these spots we went to.
Yeah, service wasn't
lies.
Great. But the first spot we go to sounded like a great one. And meanwhile, this is the first go around. We found the spot, it matched the description, but getting into the spot was kind of nuts. But we gave it a shot anyways, because we're crazy.
I'm going to stop Blake there. It's not because we're crazy. It's because I was like, it's fine. Like, this is totally fine, because I didn't want to admit defeat at our very first try. And Blake was like, I think this is a really bad idea.
Long story short, we're going up this like small, like tiny dirt hill. So I had to maneuver into the spot, and it was like a side slope. And I think the bus was at like a 45-degree angle. I called quits. I was like, nope, I'm not going to flip our bus on the very first spot that we're going to stay. And we backed out, went back into town, and we were going to our number 2 spot. At this point, it's nightfall. If I ever gathered one piece of wisdom in all of this, is if you're staying somewhere off grid, never go to a place at night. Stay in a parking lot somewhere, then find your spot during the day.
Again, learning.
But this one actually defied all of those rules, because we went there at night, it was smooth, we parked, and we woke up in the morning, and it was one of the most stunning spots that we had ever been to.
It was one of the most beautiful things I had ever seen. Some of you may live in places like this. It was like almost shocking. It was beautiful.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights.
I think we learned and didn't realize what kind of impact this would have on Everest. We were still working, we were settling in, like we said, with the learning curve, like how do we live, in this beautiful place day to day. And we just saw like Everest light up. We would go out with this tiny little fishing pole, like literally 20 feet from us, and he'd be running around with the dogs, just experiencing nature and all these things we think is really paying dividends in his life. And we always hear people saying, he's not gonna remember this. I remember right where we were sitting, just kind of watching him, like this really is gonna be an awesome building block in his life.
We have a new fishing strategy to startle the fish onto the hook.
And having the opportunity for us to see things through his like baby childlike lens was things that we were seeing for the first time too. When I see this beautiful vast lake with these incredibly high mountains and I'm kneeling down at his level pointing them out, I get to see those things through his perspective. That was really eye-opening too, how little I feel like in our adult lives we really just take a step back to appreciate what's around us. Good morning. It is September 28th. It's around 10 in the morning. We slept in. It's Blake's 30th birthday, so I'm making some French toast and we're gonna enjoy some breakfast and try to make it to Glacier National Park today, and I can't wait for him to have a great birthday.
For those of you who haven't been to Glacier National Park and you intend on going to a national park, this has to go to the top of the list. It was breathtaking anywhere you go. And with our timeline, we did several hikes, but our favorite 4 were these ones right here. We highly recommend them. They kind of range from like difficulty. Some of them were easier and then some of them were a little bit longer.
One of them I got about 100 feet in and I was like, is that where we're going? To Blake, and he's like, yeah, it's just like easy right there. I turned around and got back in the car. We are off on a little family hike to St. Mary Falls. We might go a little bit further. There's like 3 total falls on this path, but we're gonna start off with St. Mary's because it looks like the prettiest one, and then see how far we make it.
And then the ultimate highlight of something that you cannot miss if you go there is the Going to the Sun Road. It takes you through the entire park. You know, it's a long drive, but it feels like 10 seconds.
You're disappointed when it ends, even though you've been driving for a couple hours.
And if you're wondering if we took Bay the bus up the Going to the Sun Road, we did not. But that would be an epic video one day if we tried. It'd be super illegal, but entertaining. And don't get us wrong, like going up to Montana, our first destination was just butterflies and rainbows. There were still things day to day that were tough, like we ran out of water way earlier than we thought. And, you know,
I'm blaming it on the tip over.
And the service was like bad, so like working was hard and that was stressful. That was kind of like our first like, can we do this? How amazing that, you know, we were there for like 10 days, how amazing that was. And a living like non-vacation environment, it kind of confirmed all those goals and things that we pictured, and we were so lucky that our very first place happened to be that.
Yeah, it's kind of like what they say about like childbirth and like the early days of having like a baby. You kind of get like amnesia when you want to do it again of all the hard things, because the really, really amazing things kind of take over. So definitely, like, there was a lot of hard, but ultimately it was like, okay, we can do this.
As we wait for the fish to gram, we continuously throw rocks nearby, hoping that they would be so startled as to grab the hook